Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator. And today we're playing a really fun track, but we're also doing something as well. I am playing with Erode for the first time that I can remember in a video. And right now I'm going to show you on the screen real quickly how to install Erode into the game. Basically, you just look at your icon, which is probably on your main screen somewhere, or if you have it from your start menu, you go to your icon, you right-click it, and then on Windows 10 at least, I mean, you could be using something else, but Windows 10 and I believe Windows 7 has the same interface. You go down to the bottom where it says like target line, and there's a bunch of quotations, which is where the game, like all that stuff has to stay. But then after that, I have a couple things mixed in here. I have hidden pause, accurate skip, those things you don't need to really notice too much, but you also see I've written --erode and then a space and then a number. And what that 40 means, which is what you guys will be watching right now, is it roughly estimates for 40 people going over the same spot of track while I am going over that particular spot of track. And the only reason I'm doing that is so that you guys can kind of see the erode during this track walk. By the way, I'm playing Monster Mountain Classic, a beautiful track made by Colton D719, and you guys may remember he made, I think it was called Sweetwater MX as well, which is another real track, as is Monster Mountain, not that long ago, and we did a track walk video in it, so another banger of a track. He did a killer job making this thing look good and realistic, and he released it with like a fully modified version where there's braking bumps and everything, but he also released a prepped version, which is, you know, the track is smoothed out, there's no ruts, there's no bumps or anything, and you get to basically make your own lines. So that's why I figured now is a good time, if any, to start talking about and playing with Erode, because it's going to be pretty prominent here soon. Erode is terrain deformation. It's the rough word of it. It's something that I feel like people have thought Sim missed for a long time, and it's had it for a while. JLV included it in a snapshot update, years ago, so maybe 2013, and you could always do it in single player, but that was it. It was never online. So now he's included it online. You have to update your client if you haven't done that yet, and I'll include the links to update your snapshot and your client in the description. And few servers have it. Most of them still do not have it updated for that yet, so don't like go into all these servers expecting Erode to work. But it's going to be probably coming for 2018 Supercross. It's going to be mostly in most servers by next year, I would assume anyway, because most people are going to want it to be like that. So this is going to be the quote-unquote changing landscape of MX Simulator right here, where finally Erode is here, and you can see there's already little bits of ruts developing after one lap through. You saw the first time through there was absolutely nothing down on the track when I went by, but now there's already some lines developing. And for the most part, I'm going to try to hit the same line so you can see that the line gets bigger and bigger with every pass through. But if I were to go to a different spot, it would also develop in that spot as well. And you'll see that because there's going to be a few times where I'll just crash or, do something stupid, and you'll see the line get all kinds of messed up. In fact, you probably already saw me crash before the finish line jump, and that line's all messed up. But Erode is, it's a huge deal, and I don't want to, talk too much about Erode without talking about this track, but just to kind of touch on it real quick one more time, it's really hard to predict in Sim, because if you can't see all the bumps and ruts and stuff like that are there, then you're suddenly coming into a corner where there's a lot more braking bumps than you thought and that were there last lap. So it's going to be hard to learn. It's a totally new learning curve for a lot of these pros that have never raced with it before. Everybody's never raced with it, but anybody that's like just playing Sim now will be learning it with the Erode as part of the racing scheme, whereas all these seasoned veterans, simulator players or whatever, are pretty much used to not having the track change underneath of them. So it's definitely an added element. It's one that we'll probably talk about in depth before any racing kicks off in 2018 for the professional sim stuff. So figured now is as good a time as any, like I said, to start talking about it, get a little bit more familiar with it. You guys can also, you know, give it a go yourself, and it's not like you have to play with it. You can play this track fully prepped with no erode and totally be fine. You can also play the, you know, fully like laid out version where he's got all the ruts and bumps and stuff like that. It's not like anybody's forcing you to play with it. It's just an update to the game that I think is, it's not really that it's long overdue, but everybody's been waiting for it to really come around, and it's good to see that JLV is still kind of trying to improve the game where he can, and they're going to work on getting the erode system down pat before the start of the season. Now, the problem with erode really is that it takes up so much more space on your computer to do so. So everybody that already had high performance computers kind of pretty well off with the erode update, but everybody else is on the struggle bus theoretically, because like I said, it's just really taxing on computers to have that much data ran through, and you get 40 guys on the track changing the terrain every lap. It's not going to be a good sign of what's going on there. So, well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out in Supercross, obviously, but right now it's just kind of getting used to it and adapting to the change before obviously they have to go racing on it. But this track is freaking sick. Monster Mountain is a track that has been really, really badly requested over and over again. I don't know, for whatever reason, when I downloaded this track, I thought it was Mill Creek. Like, I was thinking Mill Creek in my mind, because I guess, you know, I guess they kind of look similar. But no, Monster Mountain, and has a big amateur national here every year. So a lot of young kiddies that play the track or ride the track in real life will probably be wanting to play this track in the game. So that's kind of a unique aspect of it. But I think Colton, who made the track, he lives pretty close by to the track. He's posted a picture of him riding the track when he released the track as well. So that's probably where his inspiration for building the track stems from. But in general, he just builds banger replica tracks, and this is another one. I'm really excited to see if he continues to push more works out, because I think he's got a lot of talent when it comes to building tracks. And like, even the like fully decked out version that he made of this track rides and feels pretty good. But really, like I said, just wanted to try out the erode for the first time, and so far I think I'm riding it pretty well. Like I said, I've ridden with a road before on and know, you know, how it is. So it's not like this is anything brand new to me, but it may be brand new to some of you guys, and at least you guys now get to see how it's formed and whatnot. And you can see that, like, underneath me, the ground is somewhat changing. If you really pay close attention in the corners, you can see little subtle changes, but it's only super noticeable when you ride around next lap and see big divots in the ground and ruts being formed. And braking bumps do come as part of the package, but again, it's so much more noticeable when you have lots of guys out on the track versus what I'm doing right now, which is just me riding the track, and I up the erode intensity, but you still only see just like a little bit of what is the potential with the erode stuff. And I'll be honest, I feel like I'm riding pretty well, so you're not seeing a lot of the chaos that gets made. Like, the real problem with terrain deformation is that the second someone crashes, that's also part of the terrain deformation. So, like, here I go, I crashed, that made some divots in the ground, it also made some kicked up dirt in the middle of those rollers, and it's not good because nobody's expecting that when they come through next time by. They just hope that everybody hit the section clean and that the ruts are still intact and whatnot. But clearly that's not going to be the case. So I'm going to try to split out here a little bit and do what I can to develop some different lines, so you can see that it's not just the one line. It's not like it divots in one specific spot, but the lines are constantly changing. And it has to do with, you know, corners, how you hit the throttle. A lot of it has to do with how the track creators decide to set the erode levels to, so they can also, you know, change the way that the bumps are formed and whatnot, which is going to add a whole new element to track making as well. Oh, get stopped for the corner? Yeah, I didn't think so. Overall, though, this track is super duper fun. Like, I've had a lot of enjoyment just like getting to ride it to get prepared to do this video, and it's really well built. Like, I can definitely foresee this track being included as part of like some local cross series stuff in the future, where people host races through their own sites or whatever. Really fun, unique track. And like I said, I really have liked Colton's 2 releases so far. I think that he's probably already established himself as one of the best track creators in this game, just from his ability to put together some epic replicas that look visually amazing compared to what the track looks like in real life. I mean, look at that view in front of me of the track. That's just like, it looks almost realistic from afar. And obviously Sim is not the most like graphically amazing video game, but I feel like to me this is some of the better stuff that you see in Sim. And I don't know too much about this track, honestly. I mean, I've seen some of the amateur racing that goes on here, being a part of Verb, and I know that Honda had a PR launch there a few years ago, but it just seems like this beautiful track that's kind of a hidden gem. Like, it totally looks like a track that could one day host an AMA National, but I mean, I don't know why they don't, or why it hasn't been talked about or anything. Certainly is a nice looking track though, nice facility to say the least. See, that's another thing right there. Little bump just kind of catches you off guard. You don't notice it's there until it's too late. Trying to remember if I can think of some of the servers that the Erode stuff is on right now, because I'm sure one of the questions that will be asked from people watching this video is, well, how do I get online with my buddy and play road tracks now and stuff like that? Well, I'm pretty sure that 01 and 03, like elsinore.mxsimulator.com, 19801 and 19803, are those are the national tracks and supercross tracks from the past few years, I believe. And I think they have been set up for Erode. Not 100% sure of that, but I know 03 is, which is the supercross stuff, but I'm not 100% sure about 01 and it being the nationals with the Erode stuff. I know that when the online Erode stuff came out, that it was a big deal for the track creators that were part of RF, and they basically just started flattening out all their tracks that they'd already created for the nationals during the season and putting them on servers for people to race. So if you can somehow find where those are, that's a thing as well. The RF guys went full ham when that happened, but I personally don't know where that was happening, or if it's still available or not. I'm gonna be one of those guys just going across the track, ruining ruts, making different lines. I'll be honest, I'm playing much better than I expected. I wasn't doing too hot when first trying out some of this Erode stuff, but I feel like I've gotten pretty used to it already. Not too good when it comes to getting bucked over the bars though. Going down all the way to the corner. Got this rut down here getting developed into a big old guy. Just trying to work this inside rut a little bit better because it leads you down the straightaway more. Now there's still quite a bit of things that I think need to be kind of fine-tuned, perfected, whatever you want to call it, about Erode, but generally speaking, like, it's an exciting time for Sim because it almost makes it a brand new game, like where you have to learn the aspects of the terrain changing underneath of you, as well as trying to ride the bike. And I know a lot of people that play Sim are like, it's already tough enough, why are we making it tougher? But for the pros that have kind of been stuck in a rut for several years that are in this game, it's an exciting time because like I said, it totally changes the way that you have to play this game, the way you have to approach playing the game, and adds a completely new element to who could possibly win the championships and whatnot. I'm just speaking from personal experience, having raced the pro stuff. You know, I just feel like it's an added bonus to have this stuff now. Rut's gotten pretty deep. Can't wait to see what this stuff is like though when the entire track is just like plastered with ruts. People going all over the track, developing new lines. And I feel like a lot of stuff like that will happen where, I mean, if it was a smooth face jump still, probably would have just slid right off the top and landed that no problem, but got kicked off of it because there's some ruts and bumps in it now. You can see some of those braking bumps going to the outside of that corner because that's one of the spots that I've been riding into. Like, the braking bumps do develop, it's just definitely pretty easy to go around them, which is one thing that was kind of solved by manually building the braking bumps. So I think that when it comes to like nationals and stuff, they might still put some braking bumps in the way already so that like it kind of predetermines what lines on the tracks the guys will be going to, just to make it a little bit, you know, different, I guess. But yeah, Erode, exciting times. We're gonna do some online Erode videos soon, I promise. And as long as these like track releases continue coming with the quote-unquote prep tracks where like there's no bumps or ruts on the track already, I plan on trying to do more and more of the track walks with the Erode on, so you guys can see for yourself the developments of the tracks and whatnot. The true problem with Erode for people that aren't terribly good at this game is that if you aren't running the same lines every lap, then the ruts don't happen, and ruts in places you don't want them to be start coming out. So, I mean, what I'd recommend for anybody that like wants it to work to their advantage is, you know, try to take it easy first couple laps and actually develop some lines that you want to hit before just blowing out the track entirely and not being able to do anything with it after that. But you can see, like, there's already multiple lines developed, and as long as you can see where they are, it's not terribly hard to get into them and hit them just like it was a normal rut. But like I said, it's pretty easy to avoid the braking bumps. Like, just go down the inside right here, hit nothing, pop into the rut last minute to clear the tabletop. But with 40 people on the track, I mean, there's going to be bumps everywhere, and it's going to be pretty hard to avoid them. So, like I said, it's a whole different ball game suddenly when it comes to online racing in this game now that online Erode is out. And that's really why I never did a video with Erode in this game, because it was such a single player thing that it's kind of like, yeah, that's cool, I can show it to people, they can use it, but without the ability to put it online with other players, you don't really see the full benefits of it, I guess. So, I mean, that's kind of why I waited, just to, you know, make it a little bit more applicable when it was available to use online, so that it was more enjoyable for anybody that wanted to give it a go. I'm going to do one more lap on this track, show off the ruts and stuff one more time, crash on that jump because I somehow hadn't until that point. I actually saved a pretty gnarly nosedive scrub at one point, which I was quite happy with because didn't want to crash a bunch in this video, and so far it's worked out pretty well. I'm really just amazed at how like well the ruts work though. Like, they don't dig in too deep. I feel like 40 is a good Erode number if you're doing single player, because it develops the lines, but it doesn't overdevelop them. It doesn't make them too deep or anything like that. And it also doesn't take forever for the lines to appear. Like you saw, is pretty much one lap in and you could already see the lines, and you could kind of continue to try to hit them because they were noticeable. You could see them. So I would recommend trying that. Obviously, I've showed you guys how to do it. So if you have any questions on that line, go ahead, but there's not much more I can offer than what I've showed you, because that's how I've always known how to do it. If you have a different way of approaching it, then I'm sorry, but that's how I know how to do it. And it will not like corrupt your game or anything. If you wrote it in wrong, it won't let you start the game. So just be mindful of that. And if you ever get into that problem, all you have to do is just erase everything that you wrote in that target line back to the end of the quotation marks. Don't erase the quotation marks. Don't erase anything on that line. Just from the quotation marks forward, you have to put at least a space between it, and then dash dash you wrote a space and then a number, which in this case I put 40, but you could put 1,000 too if you wanted. I think it only goes to 999. I think you put triple digit numbers as an availability, but that's it. So yeah, a lot of talk about I wrote in this video, and little talk about this beautiful track, which I hope gets several views and several people download it, because Colton is the man for not only making this track, but also releasing it for free, which not many people like doing these days, and getting together with the guys at TM Factory Racing to host a big event on it, which they had a few weeks back, so not happening anymore, but really cool track. Definitely would check it out. 10 out of 10 in execution, 10 out of 10 in rideability. Just a lot of it is really awesome, and I thank Colton for producing awesome content. But if you guys like this video, please don't be afraid to like it and subscribe if you aren't already. And then, like I said, hit us up in the comment section below if you're having any difficulties or you want to know more about eRoad, or just in general you want to ask me any question. That's where I go to try to answer anything that I can when I'm available and willing to answer said question. But thanks for watching another edition of Track Walk and MX Simulator. I hope to see you guys in our future videos, but for now, so long for now.